So Gnarly, what was that moment that you realized it's time for you to change and start your self-development journey and really start bettering yourself?
Mm, yes. I took a job on a cruise ship to kind of run away from my problems and my trauma in my life. And on that cruise ship, I had my first spiritual awakening. And I realized that, I could change location, I could move countries, but I will always meet myself and meet my mindset and my limiting beliefs. And the world is just a reflection of how I see myself, how I feel about myself. So it was that moment when I was, at my rock bottom, just realizing that it's all just about me and how I feel, that I realized I have to change what's happening in here. And that was the moment when I was 23 that I decided, let's do this.
Okay. Okay. So what was like a specific thing that you experienced that you were like, oh my God, like I actually really need to change internally because no matter where I go, no matter what I do externally, it's not going to make a huge difference. It's all about my internal world.
Mhm. Yeah, a series of unfulfilling relationships, just myself sabotaging myself all the time, just feeling not a lot of confidence in myself. It was just a series of things that were happening or not happening in my life that really made me look at myself and realize, like, I've got to do the work, breakups, friendships, money issues, sabotaging my goals. The list is endless. There's not like one specific thing, but just like a series of events that kind of made me realize, like, I can't run from me.
Hmm. How did that
Yeah.
affect your life, like in different parts? How did you notice that the negative effects?
Yeah, it affected just my overall confidence and well-being. I've always felt like I wanted to do something in this world and be something more, but my self-concept, my identity just didn't match. So I had money problems. All the goals that I wanted to create would never really take off. I started and I'd stop. I doubt myself. My relationships were just not as fulfilling or successful. A lot of pain and trauma. Yeah, I feel like my mindset and my identity before I really did this work was just toxic in a way. It was just not conducive to the life that I dreamt of.
Hmm. So you're saying it was more of like a self-concept and identity problem.
Absolutely,
So
110%.
so why did that hold you back from your perspective?
Yeah, well, it was like I didn't believe in myself, you know what I mean? Like, yes, I had all these dreams and goals, but the fear of failure, the fear of other people's judgment, I didn't really cheerlead myself. I wasn't completely on my own team, right? So I'd had all these ideas, but I just felt not good enough, Like at the very core of it, my self-concept was of someone that just wasn't good enough. So I didn't really reach high enough. I didn't aim higher. I just kind of played small for years. You know what I mean? I just pretended that I was comfortable and safe in this little self concept. I didn't really achieve much. I didn't bet on myself. So it really messed with my confidence. It messed with my money. I didn't promote myself. I didn't put my business out there. I really sabotaged myself in a way.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people definitely struggle with their identity and their self-concept because no matter what you do, like externally, you want to try the newest, the most fanciest habit, or you want to read
Yeah.
the craziest new book out there. If
Yeah.
internally you're not like, aligned, if you're not,
Mhm.
basically updated, like your software isn't updated, no matter what you do to the
Yes.
hardware, it's not going to
Yes.
work out. It's like a
Yeah.
computer that like you get the craziest keyboards, monitor, cameras, but then the
It's so
GPU and the
crazy you
CPU
say
is just,
that.
yeah.
It's crazy you say that because I was just talking to my client. I'm like trying to explain to her the subconscious mind, and I'm like, you are like your iPhone. Like you are a program, and you have some apps that are open in your program that you're not aware of. That's messing up the way you function and perform in this world and show up in your life, right? And yeah, we need to upgrade our software, upgrade or sometimes delete some of the programs and the apps that are messing us up, right?
100%. Yeah, because it's good that you mentioned delete because a lot of the times it's not necessarily adding new things to us, it's just removing
Oh
things
my
from our
God.
life. Like I'm sure you've
Yeah.
experienced that sometimes you believe and think certain things, but you're like, wait, do I actually even believe this? Is this even right?
Yes.
Does this belief even serve me? Like maybe like start deconstructing and like kind of moving back, you're like, oh, this doesn't even help me out. Why do I even believe this? Why do I give it so much
Oh
power?
my God. Yes. Lots of money beliefs, lots of success beliefs. And we're so programmed, we're so conditioned as people to believe in lack, to believe in failure, to put the power outside of ourselves constantly, right? So it's not our fault. It's not our fault that we have all these programs and limiting beliefs and fears, but it's really about subtracting them and removing them and elevating above them and realizing that it's not the ultimate truth. That was a big thing for me. Like these beliefs that I'm believing, it's not the ultimate truth. It's not my truth. I don't have to subscribe to it anymore. A lot of people are subscribing to beliefs that really derail them from their success, right? And it's really about unsubscribing, no longer choosing it. Because at some point it becomes a choice. You know what I mean? Like as empowered people with all the information at our fingertips, we also have to choose what we want to, create at some point, taking responsibility, right? Yes, the subconscious reprogramming, yes, the identity work, but also it's a conscious choice to say, enough. I'm not believing that anymore. I'm not subscribing to that anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, it's interesting because like I feel like a lot of people are not even aware that they're believing in things that are not giving them power. They're believing in things that takes power away from them, takes basically the ability to make changes in their reality. For
Yeah.
example, I feel like a lot of beliefs that whether consciously or unconsciously, like our parents, our
Mhm.
cultures give us, and we're like, oh, it's just it's okay for us to do this, or it's normal for us to be in these situations or not be able to do whatever we want to do. But then when you think
Mhm.
outside of it, you're like, oh, wait, is this something that actually is real? Let me just think, let me look around. There are people like today I was doing a podcast, as I said, like
Mhm.
earlier on, and he's 18, right? The guy was 18, but he's
Mhm.
so like very successful, very smart, very wise for his age. And I'm like, there are people out here like him that they're doing their thing and they're really making huge progress. They're making huge achievements in
Yeah.
their lives. But then there are
Mhm.
people in their late 20s, mid 20s, early 20s, 30s that are complaining and constantly, victimizing themselves and not taking responsibility. I'm like, I just see these two spectrums. I'm like, what's the difference here? Is it the people? Is it like something physical is different? Is it the location? I'm like, okay, it's not anything physical. It all comes down to your mindset.
Yeah. It's your belief system. I say it's your BS. It's your life is about your BS, your belief system.
Yeah.
You can't live or create better than you think. Period. Like it takes a certain belief system to create anything in this life, right? And if you don't believe you're worthy, good enough, if you don't believe the money will come, you don't believe you'll be successful, abracadabra. The universe isn't going to override your belief system. You know what I mean? It just matches your belief system.
Yeah. What were like some of the beliefs and I guess internal systems that you say like that you had to change and you had to like adapt as you were growing?
So many. So many. I feel like it's like God or whatever you want to believe in put me into this family. I have immigrant African parents, and I had the worst money beliefs, the worst programming around being successful. So many. Where do I even start? Money is hard to come by. Success is hard. People won't like you when you're successful. It's dangerous to be bigger, shine your light, keep quiet. You know what I mean? All of these beliefs around not not owning who you are and going for it, right? I had a lot of money programming. That was a lot of the work I had to do, knowing that I can put myself out there, exchange my services, be paid my worth, finding my worth, feeling good enough to take up space, especially as a woman. Sometimes people prefer that you just stay in the background, and yeah, there were so many beliefs, definitely confidence beliefs. Who am I to do this? A lot of that imposter syndrome I had to get over, to really say, I'm a leader. I know what I'm talking about. I'm here to change the world and really appoint myself as someone to listen to and a leader and a healer and a coach for other people. Right. So it was a complete identity upgrade. And I'm not sure if you know this, but I've been a model for 12 years. And to change my public image from a model to a mentor was a huge identity upgrade, right? I really had to shift the gears in my mind and in my self-concept to say, yeah, I can post the pictures, but now I have something to say. Now I have a service to give. And now I'm transforming lives. My programming was just, there were so many limiting beliefs around earning money, creating money, asking for money, not looking sleazy. Shifting into entrepreneurship is the biggest self-development, personal development journey you can go on, because it's going to illuminate all of your self-worth, all of your money ideas, all of everything. You know what I mean? Especially when you're becoming the face or the leader of your business. So yeah, money's hard to come by. Rich people are evil. You know, people don't like you when you're successful. Um, yeah, making money is hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. All of these paradigms that just are just broken paradigms, right? And just not the ultimate truth. But yeah, overcoming that, especially, I had a lot of like, you know, because I'm a woman of color, it's going to be harder for me. All of these stuff, you know, that just never doesn't help anybody, right? So I had to delete those apps and reprogram my mind to think completely differently. And that's where the self-concept and identity work comes into play. And I'm a big advocate for subconscious reprogramming as a hypnotherapist. So yeah, it was a lot of work. This was not an overnight thing. I can tell you that much.
I can definitely see the passion that you're speaking about those topics. So like, what were like some of the things that you did to like start that process of like reprogramming your mind, changing that internal beliefs that were actually holding you back and removing them?
One of the easiest ways to uncover your limiting beliefs is to ask yourself, you know, what belief would create this situation, right? Like if I'm struggling with money, like what belief is creating this? What belief must I hold to experience this, right? So I had to get super clear and just look at my life, like just be completely honest with myself, because you can't be honest with yourself, then you're never going to really transform, right? So I just sat down with myself, and I've had mentors as well. I highly believe in having a mentor or investing in yourself, because you can't see your blind spots, right? But I got really clear on, you know, if I'm struggling with money, if I'm not taking action, if my business isn't getting off the ground, if months are passing me by and I'm not creating the success that I want, what belief system is projecting this? Where is this coming from? What must I believe about myself to be experiencing this reality, right? And just got really clear one by one. Okay, money's not coming in. What do I believe about money? What are the belief system that's creating this, right? Because I really believe in separating the human from the belief system, because the belief system is your programming. You can't really help that sometimes, right? But like taking like a bird's eye view and saying, okay, what must she believe about herself if she's struggling, if she's not confident, if she's not putting herself out there, if she's sabotaging, right? Like get curious about like, why is this happening? Knowing that I'm an ambitious, capable person, why, right? So self-inquiry, asking those questions, listing down all of the possible beliefs, what I learned in my childhood, even that inner critic. What is that inner critic saying to you, right? That's also your belief system being shown to you. So yeah, it was just really just getting honest and clear and saying one by one, I'm going to uncover what is operating in my subconscious mind and choose a better thought, choose a better belief, because I can't create better than I believe about myself, right?
That's a very interesting to say. You can't create any more than anything you believe.
Exactly.
So basically
Yeah.
what you're saying is that the first step is to be honest with yourself and recognize that there are things that are holding you back if you're in a
Mm-hmm.
situation that you don't like and if it's an undesirable life that you're living. And then the
Yeah.
second step is to reverse engineer to see where those beliefs stem from and
Yes.
why are they appearing constantly in your life. And then the third part is basically choosing a belief that's going to actually serve you, not hold you back.
Yes. And in between step 2 and 3 is also doing the subconscious work, right? Because consciously we can become aware of what's blocking us, but that's just 5% of your mind. We have to go into the subconscious and really rewire and release those blocks and beliefs, right? And that's also shifting your identity and stuff like that as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people are aware of their money blocks, but they haven't really done the deeper work, if that makes sense.
And what's like something that you can do to basically do that deeper work? Is it reflection? Is it like certain habits that you got to do? Certain what's
Yeah,
your
I
plan?
mean, for me as an NLP practitioner and hypnotherapist, I rely on different subconscious rewiring tools. Hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, and EFT tapping are the 3 tools that I use the most, that do the heavy lifting for me. If you don't have access to those tools and you don't want to hire a mentor or a hypnotherapist, then you can consciously do affirmations, do journaling, and consciously, you know, with repetition, rewire those beliefs by saying, you know, money is easy, money comes to me easily. Start to train your brain to start thinking in a new way and create new neural pathways. That's like the slow way. The fastest way is to use, NLP, hypnotherapy, time techniques, and EFT tapping to just kind of do it faster, which is what my work is all about.
Can you go a bit more in depth on each method that you're speaking? Because I don't really have much knowledge about it.
Okay, for sure. Yes. So I'm a neurolinguistic practitioner, NLP. NLP is basically the study of the mind and how the subconscious mind and conscious mind communicate with one another, and how to create change by changing the way people see themselves, the information they feed themselves, right? So your conscious mind is 5% of your mind. If your mind is like a circle, the top half is your conscious, and the bottom half, like the bottom of the iceberg kind of thing, is your subconscious mind that holds, your subconscious mind is operating your blood, your breathing, all those automatic things you don't have to think about. That's where your subconscious mind is, as well as it holds your identity, your memories, your belief systems, and your habits, right? So when people are going on autopilot, that's their subconscious, like they're just going through the motions. They're not really thinking about things, right? So NLP, hypnotherapy. With hypnotherapy, basically, what hypnotherapy is all about is just another form of, it's a deep meditation, but it helps you get into a relaxed state and give your subconscious mind instructions to accept that will change the way you behave, right? So the concept is your subconscious mind will never make you a liar. Once your subconscious mind accepts an idea, it has to bring it to pass because it's 95% of your mind, right? So if you have the belief in your subconscious that money is hard to come by, well, that's what your 3D reality will constantly show you, because your subconscious mind, that's just your wiring, right? With hypnotherapy, we're going into the subconscious mind and we're releasing the block or the idea that money is hard to come by and replacing it with a new empowering thought. And once that thought is accepted, that money is easy, money comes to me easily, sales is easy, whatever it is, then that truth, that new truth, must come into your reality, right? So on a deeper level, your life is a printout of your subconscious mind. Your life is a printout of your subconscious mind. So instead of changing your outer reality, change the projection, change what's happening in here, and the outside reality will automatically adjust and transform, right? So hypnotherapy is a relaxation technique to directly go into the subconscious mind and release and remove any blocks. EFT tapping is a very popular one. It's gaining more traction, as well as hypnosis. But EFT is about kind of releasing subconscious resistance. So subconscious resistance is, let's say you want to start a YouTube channel or put yourself out there, sort of business, but like you just keep not doing it. You keep kind of hitting a wall, right? So with EFT tapping, it's all about tapping on different meridian points of your body and pretty much addressing the subconscious beliefs. So let's say it's, I'm not good enough. You'll start to tap on those certain phrases that are negative at first to bring them into your body. And then you also use EFT to kind of rewire that feeling of that negativity, that emotion, the emotional freedom tapping technique, to release the emotions that are stopping you, right? The subconscious emotions, right? The fear of failure. You can tap on anything, calling in more money, being more seen, releasing any type of fear of being whatever, successful, judged, all of these things. And then timeline techniques is a very hard one to explain because it's kind of like past life regression in a way. Are you familiar with past life regression at all?
I have no idea. Educate me on that, please.
Okay. So from the ages of 0 to 7, we are walking subconscious minds, right? We're so impressionable. We can be imprinted very easily by whatever we see mommy and daddy do, right? We're walking through the world, observing it and making conclusions that, okay, this is how money works. This is how love works. This is how relationships work, because we're just so impressionable. So what happens is between those ages, basically, we pick up things that are just not beneficial and we take that into our adulthood, right? With timeline therapy, what we're doing is we're regressing the person back into their 0, 1, 2, 3-year-old self and discovering the root cause of that fear of failure or the root cause of that fear of not being good enough. And we're releasing it from the root. So it's going back in time subconsciously, finding out when that person first started to believe that she wasn't good enough or he wasn't good enough and releasing it, right? These are all very unconventional subconscious reprogramming tool. It's kind of hard to explain. You kind of have to experience it. But yeah, there's different tools to kind of get to the root cause of these limiting beliefs and just remove them faster than consciously trying to do it and override it. Right.
So a lot of it comes back to basically deconstructing what's in your mind, basically, and where it
Yes.
started.
100%. Where it started, releasing that and creating a new, more empowering belief that you can hold on to. And once that belief is in your subconscious, well, you don't have to worry about it anymore. Like for me, the whole money's hard to come by, right? Releasing that, releasing the I'm not good enoughness, so I can easily become the woman who is taking on clients, putting herself out there, doing things like this, because there is no subconscious block there anymore. So I feel safe, I feel calm, I feel confident, I feel enough. I'm not worried, I'm not stressed, I'm not anxious, because there's no subconscious thing saying people aren't going to like you, you're going to fail, you're never going to be successful. You know what I mean? There's no narrative that's holding me back. It's the opposite now. And that's what I want more people to experience, right? Because no one's consciously saying I want to struggle with money. No one's consciously saying I want to fail and not be good enough. It's all happening subconsciously. You know what I mean? No one's like waking up saying, oh, I can't wait to not make money today. No, it's like it's a subconscious thing.
Yeah. Like as you said, it's a subconscious thing, but a lot of people think it's like something that's outside of their control. So they keep giving it more belief and more energy and more attention on it. And then it's going to grow over time. But also here's the thing is that, as you said, they were planted with that belief, or they planted that belief within by themselves. But if they just able to be aware of and understand, okay, it's not actually external problems that are holding me back. It's just I am creating those problems in the first place.
110%. And that's one of the biggest things where it's like people don't even understand how powerful they are. They don't even they have no idea how powerful they truly are once they know how to, when you can learn the laws of the mind and learn how the mind works, it unlocks a level of confidence, because you know that you're not just doing it by yourself. You're not just you have these mental tools that you can use to really elevate your life quickly. You know what I mean? So yeah, I wish more people knew and studied the subconscious mind and really took it serious to really help themselves, because once you can unlock yourself and release those blocks, you'll feel limitless. You know what I mean? You'll feel unstoppable, because you know that if this program is running, I can just delete it, put something else in its place, and create my reality. And mind you, everyone has their own philosophies on how we're creating our reality. Some people are like, just manifest it. And some people are like, oh, just do breath work or just do nervous system regulation. Everyone has their own thing, right? This is my belief system, is that your subconscious and your identity is the thing that will truly unlock every area of your life.
Yeah, because it makes sense, because your thoughts and your beliefs, they all emanate like a certain frequency or a certain vibration. And there was this quote, I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was Nikola Tesla or Einstein, but they said our world is based on frequency, vibration, and energy. And those thoughts and beliefs and identity stuff, all those things, they emanate with a certain energy. And those energies bring things to us because our brains are transmitters, you know? So
100%.
If you're giving a certain energy to the world, we're going to get that back, basically.
Exactly. And the world will only confirm who you think you are. You know what I mean? If you don't think you're good enough, then the world is just going to keep showing you that. It has no choice. Right?
Exactly.
It's just
that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people are very unconscious about those beliefs and just that internal system that's constantly running and bringing things into their life that they're not really aware of. So what would you recommend to, let's just say, people who have no idea about these things, that have no knowledge, no experience with it, but they want an actionable step that, let's just say, on a day-to-day basis, they can apply and get closer to that version of themselves that they want to be?
Absolutely. So I actually created a methodology that I teach my clients and have been using for myself to create my reality and create success. And it's called the Dream Method. And the Dream Method is how you basically go from point A to B in any area of your life. So if you are new to subconscious reprogramming, or you're just new to conscious creating your life, I'll break it down, the steps that I use and I recommend for anyone. Okay. So D stands for declare. right? It's all about deciding, okay, this is where I'm going. This is the new GPS set point. This is where I'm taking my life. I want to earn this amount. I want my life to look like this. I want to feel like this. You want to declare the vision, right? Even in the Bible, it says without a vision, people perish. So it's really important to say, get clear on where you're going. What is the goal? What is the outcome? What does that reality look like? The 2.0 version of yourself, how do they operate? How do they think? So D is for declare. Get really clear on where you're going, right? Because even your mind needs clear instructions. It needs to know okay, where are we going, right? So D is for declare. R is for reprogram and release. Okay. So now that you've declared, I want to be a 6-figure earner, you want to discover and uncover what are the beliefs that I have right now that are preventing me from creating my declaration. Oh, okay. I have the belief that I'm not good enough. I have the belief that money's hard to come by. These are all the beliefs that are preventing you from getting to your next level, aka point D, right? So you want to reprogram and release and shift your belief system about any of those limiting beliefs or ideas or habits that you have that prevents you from creating your D, okay? E stands for energy and embodiment, right? You want to get yes, life is mental, but it's also energetic and spiritual. You know what I mean? So the E part is about embodying the version of you that naturally creates your declaration, right? Getting your energy on point, embodying the way that person behaves, how they move about their life, right? And then A is for aligned action. I always say, as you pray, move your feet. The law of attraction has the word action in it, right? So take action. What is the logical next step to get to point D, what you declared, right? So D is for declare, R is for reprogramming, E is for energy, embodying the person that naturally does those things, A is for aligned action, and then M is for manifest and momentum. Manifesting is creating your life, keeping that momentum, being that person daily, right? So I tell my clients, it's like, if the universe is a surveillance camera watching you on that surveillance camera, and it's watching the way you act and be in your life, what is that surveillance camera responding to, right? Are you being the person that believes in herself? Are you being the person that puts herself out there? Or are you being the person that just scrolls on your phone and self-sabotages and procrastinates? Because the universe is going to send you all the things that confirm who you're being on that video recording, right? The universe is responding to who you're being. So the dream method is about really being the woman or the man that naturally creates that vision. First by declaring, then reprogramming and releasing, then getting energetically in alignment, taking the action of that person that creates that vision, and then manifesting it. And it's a repeatable system. I recently used it to hit my highest sales month in my business this past March by declaring the money I wanted to create, reprogramming any beliefs I had around hitting that target, getting into the energy of the woman that can create that kind of sales month, taking action as that woman, and then manifesting it, which I did in 30 days. So the method it's alive and well and it works. But that is my 5-step method to creating any reality you want.
Can you go a bit more in depth, if possible, about the energy and the embodiment aspect of it?
Absolutely. Right. So this is where EFT tapping gets into it as well. But embodiment is basically how you're being, right? Like how you're showing up in the world. If I want to be a 6-figure woman, I have to conduct myself as a 6-figure woman now, not when I have the money, right? The money is going to respond to who I'm being. Does a 6-figure woman care about the fear of judgment? Does she care about the little mini things? No, she's in her passion. She's in her service. She's embodying that woman that it only makes sense that the 6 figures would come to. That's your embodiment, right? She has the belief system. She has the behavior. She has the attitude of the woman that creates the 6 figures, because that's the way she is. She embodies that, right? It's like 2 different people go on 2 different dates, right? One person shows up to the date kind of pessimistic, her arms are crossed. She's not embodying someone that's open to love. The other person's leaned in. She's happy. She's receptive. She's embodying someone that's open to love or success. You know what I mean? Applied to success or whatever, right? So your embodiment is how you're showing up, basically, in the most simplest ways, right? And the way you show up, does it make sense for that kind of person to create the result that you want? If not, your embodiment's off, right? If you want to be a 6-figure earner, if you want to be a YouTuber, if you want to be successful, you have to conduct yourself in successful ways. Your attitude, your energy, the way you behave, your life behind the scenes needs to match what you've declared.
100%. Okay, now that makes sense. That makes sense. What about, you said, I think it was manifesting and the momentum part of it. I think I personally, for example, struggle with that, especially with like the momentum, that I feel like at times I get like a good momentum. I'm like really doing my thing. And then like suddenly, I don't know what happens. I just kind of like fall off in a way, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think it's also good to realize we are humans and we have our lives, and sometimes we do need to slow down and speed up, and that's natural as well. Momentum is really about continuously being that person, no matter what it looks like. So manifestation is believing in the unseen until you see it, right? So if I want to make a 20K or 30K month, from the moment I declare it, I can't see the 20K just yet. But manifesting it is saying, I don't care that I can't see it right now. I'm declaring that that's going to be mine, and staying in the momentum of, this is what I'm believing in. This is what I'm calling in. No matter what happens, no matter what my 3D senses are telling me, I'm locked in on this, right? So momentum and manifestation is about being that person no matter what, continuously declaring and going towards that goal no matter what you see, right? So if you lose momentum, declare again where you're going and get into that rhythm of, I don't care what happens, this is what I'm going towards, this is what I'm creating, right?
Makes sense.
Persist until it exists is the quote. Persist until it exists. Persist until it exists.
I love that quote. From your experience with your clients, what are the most common limiting things that you see with your clients? That it's basically with almost all of them.
I'm not good enough is the number one limiting belief. I'm not
How
good
so?
enough. Or people, it's kind of imposter syndrome. They count themselves out. They feel like, because it's them, it's not going to work, or there's already better people doing what they want to do. So they're not as important enough, or as cool enough, or as beautiful enough. There's always this lacking energy. I'm not enough in some way. I don't know enough. I don't have enough. I'm not enough in some kind of whatever flavor it is for them, right? That's the number one block for sure. And then there's also, right now, lately, because of the rise of social media, there's a fear of being seen, right? And the fear of being seen is basically another form of not being enough, because if people saw you and they didn't like what they saw, then they could reject you, right? So the fear of being seen is kind of the fear of being rejected, and not being enough for success, fame, clients, getting it wrong, the fear of failing. There's so many, but yeah, lately it's been the fear of being seen and not being good enough. And then, because a lot of my clients are coaches or entrepreneurs and they want to be seen, they have to embrace being possibly rejected, right? Because, excuse me, that's kind of part of the game. Not that they're going to be rejected, but people might not like them. Like, not everyone likes everyone on social media. You know what I mean? Not everyone's fan or following everyone, but being brave enough and courageous enough to put themselves out there, that's what I help people do as well. Because, yeah.
How do you deal with people that basically they're maybe attacking you, what you're doing, your mission? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I've not really experienced that myself. I had a lot of fears around being seen and heard, especially from going from modeling to mentoring. But I really believe I'm very mission driven, right? So it becomes a point where it's like, what's more important, my mission or their opinion about my mission? That's kind of how I deal with it. It's like, what's more important, my dreams or their opinions of my dreams? Am I going to sacrifice my mission and my dreams because so-and-so feels some sort of way about me? No, right? So the best way to overcome any fear of other people is double down on your self-concept and your identity, and commit to you, no matter who doesn't like it. Because that's kind of the duality of life. Not everyone likes Tony Robbins or Oprah Winfrey or whoever else, but there's millions that do. So you show up for the people that you can serve. You show up for the people that you can help, because you're going to manifest and create. Look at me, like you and I, how we met. Like, if I wasn't in my power, we would have never met. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have this opportunity to talk to you. So it's like, it's because I choose my mission over so-and-so's opinion of me. They can have their opinion of me, but my destiny and my dreams are my responsibility. And that's always going to be my responsibility. So I don't major in the minors. A lot of people major in the minors. Oh, they don't like me. They didn't like my post. Cool. Can you keep going? Like, are you going to stop because they didn't? You know what I mean? This is where the self-concept comes into play.
Lovely said, lovely said. So do you feel like what was I gonna say? Oh, with your clients in general, do you feel like a lot of them, then you say they struggle with limiting beliefs, and
Mhm.
in that aspect, how do you go about kind of keeping them accountable? Because personally for me, it's like there are certain times I have beliefs that I'm like, oh, I can do this, but then I start doubting it. I start, maybe reverse engineering and going back to my old programming. How do
Mhm.
you handle those situations?
Yeah. I make it very clear that I make it clear how the ego works. I make it clear how the mind works, right? So your mind, if you find yourself falling off or doubting yourself, let's use money as an example. Let's say you want to start making 10K a month, right? As soon as you have the idea or the dream that you want to make more money or you want to make 10K a month, whatever it is, your ego is going to pop up and defend your current reality of the lack of 10K months or whatever it is. So as soon as your ego tries to defend your current reality, you have to override your ego. You have to declare anyway. You have to say, I hear you, limiting beliefs, but this is what I'm deciding, right? And then you release and reprogram that stuff. But it's also about basically just like doing it anyway in layman's terms. You know what I mean? Keeping people accountable. Again, I make people realize that what's at stake here if you don't go for what you want. Where are you going to be 3 months from now if you're not going after your goals? You're going to be in the same place and even more miserable, right? So I kind of help people realize that like you have to move, because moving is better than something is better than nothing. Progress is better than no progress. You know what I mean? And once people get into a momentum, it becomes easier and easier, I find.
Mm. Yeah, like
Yeah,
even little action towards your goals is better than anything. If you just hold it off and you're
exactly.
like, oh, later, 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 nothing's gonna go forward. It's basically this called thing like law of accumulation. Like anything that you do counts. So
Compound. Yes, it all adds up. Everything adds up. Everything adds up. Every positive belief, every affirmation, every action you take, it just compounds energetically as well, right? But if you don't start, then the universe has nothing to respond to. It can't give you anything if you're not showing up in any way, right?
100%. Like I remember you said you're like very mission driven. What made you decide that you want to help other people kind of rewire their mind to achieve their entrepreneurial
Yeah.
goals, or it can be different topics.
Yeah, honestly, it was my own journey because I am my biggest success story. I'm my biggest client. Like, if my younger child or inner child could see where I am now, they'd be completely shocked. You know what I mean? And I know there's so many people trapped in their mind. They can't leave their mind. They don't know how to be better and create better because their mind's not letting them. They're literally stuck there in the belief systems and the pain and the victimization, all of that, right? And I realized with having these tools and the mindset I have now that it's my mission to liberate people from their poor mindsets, from their fear and their lack of confidence and their money struggles. It all starts in the mind. So I just felt a calling. I just knew it was part of my own journey. I've helped myself tremendously, and I just want more people to experience the freedom and the joy and the confidence that's on the other side of the limiting beliefs, because it's all possible for you once you release and do the work and align with it. So yeah, hope that answers it.
And now I understand that's definitely very admirable, because I feel like a lot of the times people are afraid to put what they're gifted at out there. They're afraid to share their experience and their lessons. It may not be the most, let's just say, eye-opening thing, but it's still like it's going to be able to help people, because I feel like it's kind of selfish that for a fact that he can help people no matter in which different levels they're at. If he can help them, I think it's a wise thing to help them out, because if they're
Absolutely.
able to make progress, number one, it feels fulfilling, and two, you just helped another person, elevate in their own life.
So I have this theory where it's like if the entire world's an orchestra, when someone isn't in their service, the orchestra is kind of off key, right? We all need to be playing our instruments and contributing to the collective and showing up for our mission and our gifts, right? And some people aren't even some people aren't even showing up to the orchestra. They're just not even in their passion or their mission at all, right? But as long as we're, doing our mission and helping others, the world's a better place, right? We all have something to give, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think a lot of people are afraid. They're afraid. They're not in their mission. They don't want to take the risk. They don't want to, you know, bet on themselves. But if it's the only way to really live a fulfilling life is to be in your mission to serve, you know what I mean? In any capacity, whether it's sharing, doing these interviews, being a coach, being a healer, being a content creator, and helping others get better and improve their lives, right?
Mm. Yeah, I feel like I personally experienced within my vicinity, my culture, my community, my city, and I'm pretty sure you probably noticed this too. I feel like a lot of people try to live up to the basically the expectation of others. They try to box themselves into these persons that they maybe not even they don't even like it, but they just do it to just fit in. They just want to be
Yeah.
accepted, and they don't want to be rejected. They don't want to be an outcast even for a short while because they feel like
Mm,
whatever they want to actually do may not be pleasing to to other people. So they
yeah.
just conform, they just bend over, and they just give in.
That's the perfect word. They conform. They conform. And that was the thing for me. Like, I don't want to put labels on it, but yeah, I am the different one in my family. I am the whatever one you want to call it, right? And I had to embrace that and accept that, hey, I am a hypnotherapist and I want to do this work. And it might not make sense to you, but this is what my intuition and God is telling me to do. And, I've lost friends. I have experienced people step away from me because of the direction I've chosen. But the amount of people I've created and manifested in my life, like you and Pete Saper and all these people that confirm that I'm on the right path, it was worth it. It was worth it. It's worth it to be more authentic, because what's the alternative? To live in hiding, to pretend that you're a mouse when you're actually a tiger, like what's the alternative to the life that you live? It's a sacrifice either way. Whether you're in your mission or not in your mission, it's a sacrifice either way. You know what I mean?
At least it's better to make the sacrifice that you're able to live the life that we want rather than
Exactly.
feel stuck and
Exactly.
suffocated.
110%. And it's more authentic. And yeah, your people will find you. And that's where I'm at in my journey. I'm finding my people more and more and more. And I'm like, thank God I started. At least I came out of the closet spiritually with the woo-woo stuff, like whatever you want to call it. Because the people that are around me are my people, and I feel loved for who I am, not who I was pretending to be. It's a different reality now. It's way better.
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult decision to make for a lot of people because, especially in the Western world, I believe, actually, no, this applies to everywhere. A lot of people really care about their image, and I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. I'm not saying dress inappropriately. I'm not saying act inappropriately, but I feel like when you start to curate your life based on the expectation of others, you're losing
Mm,
your authenticity. You're starting to lose the real you in order to please others.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And it makes sense why we do that, why we people please and try to conform, because we're programmed and conditioned to do that, to stay safe and to belong. You know what I mean? But being authentic is the best way to go, because yeah, it's your life. It's your time and energy. So you might as well be who you want to be.
Mm.
Give yourself permission. And that's been my journey. It's been my journey, Arin, to really just give myself permission to take up space and to be this person and to be this leader and to say, I can help people. I can, and I will, and I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? It's been giving myself permission, reprogramming, declaring, getting my energy on point, and making it happen.
Do you feel like specifically women, because I noticed you're working with a lot of women,
Mhm.
what's been like some of the most common problems that you've seen with them that whenever they come to you to ask for your help, you're like, oh my God, like, I cannot believe you're doing this. Let me help you out.
So many people, not even women, but everyone, it's a self-image thing. They have a goal, but their current self-image is conflicting with the goal. The self-concept, identity, self-image, whatever you want to call it, right? That is the biggest thing that I see. And they have, either a fear of rejection, a fear of people not liking them, a fear of failing, not being good enough. And all of that is coming from their self-image, because they don't see how magnificent and powerful and capable they truly are. Or they do, but they rather hide or play small because it's safer, right? So I think with women, it's really about upgrading their self-image and their self-worth and saying, this is who I want. This is who I'm deciding I'm going to be. This is who I've been being, but this is who I'm deciding I'm going to be, and leveling up in their embodiment and their behavior and their attitude and how they see themselves. Because it takes your self-image is like the cornerstone of your entire life. If you're not earning the money you want, if you're not having the relationships you want, if you're not having the business you want, it's because your self-image doesn't support it, basically. You know what I mean? Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because the self-image is the way you see yourself is how other people see you. So if you're not able to see yourself to your basically the version of yourself that you want to become, if you see yourself as someone who's not performing well, if you see yourself as someone who's doubts themselves, or just doesn't
Not
really go for what
important.
they want, that's gonna hurt
Exactly.
you. It's gonna be basically returned to you.
Exactly. Or worse, you're just never going to do the thing that you want to do because you just don't have the self-image that supports it. You don't have the self-belief, right? You're blocked in some way. So then your dreams don't get materialized or manifested because you're just not, you're not in alignment with it.
I have a question for you about basically action and the action aspect of like achieving your goals. And I know there's like a huge shift of like basically on social media, at least, that people are saying take action, take action, take action, take action. Do you feel like overdoing it's actually harmful, or do you feel like maybe taking it in an inspired way, like you were taking inspired action, something that
Yeah.
feels aligned with you, that's much more effective than just action for the sake of doing it?
Yeah, of course. You want it to feel aligned. You want it to feel natural and normal. There are times in life where you definitely want to put, your foot on the gas and produce. I don't say there's anything wrong with that, but I think the mind also needs to see you in action. So if you're not taking action, your mind's also going to be like, well, how is it going to happen? How am I going to manifest these clients if I'm not posting? And so on a conscious and subconscious level, action is important. It actually helps the creation process because it creates that like inevitability, because your mind can see that, oh, she's doing this, she's doing this. It makes sense that the success is going to come, or she's going to attract this and this and this, right? So action is it just helps your mind get on board. So it's actually a good thing to take action, because it makes it more, because if I'm telling someone, okay, just lose 20 pounds and never go to the gym or never change your diet, the brain's going to be like, well, how the hell am I going to lose the weight? You know what I mean? So you're taking the action of going to the gym, posting online, whatever it is, helps your brain get on board with the creation of the goal. So I think aligned action, inspired action is all important. Obviously you don't want to burn yourself out, but you definitely can't get something from nothing, is how I see it. If I want a big YouTube channel, I have to post. No shit, right? Like I have to do the action. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're basically saying that it's good to like take inspired action, but at times you just gotta, not necessarily force it, but you gotta show up regardless of how it feels, how things are. Okay, that makes
100%.
sense.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I know a lot of people live in a certain way that it's not necessarily aligned with their most authentic self, and they don't necessarily are not living the most purposeful. How would you recommend for people to go about kind of discovering that inner GPS system that you were talking about, that inner authentic desires that you're saying?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. If you're really, really confused or lost, I like to adopt the mad scientist approach, right? Because you have nothing to lose. Try a few different things you've been meaning to try. See where your energy really lights up. Maybe you're doing this, maybe you're doing that. See where you really start to like, yeah, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. Oh, I really shine when I talk about this. And get experimental with your life. Try different things out to really find your purpose. For me, when I started my business, oh, I thought I want to be a blogger. No, I don't want to be a blogger. Oh, I thought I wanted to be this. No, I don't want to be this. Oh, actually, I'm really good at helping with personal development and mindset, right? So I tried different things out to get to this point where I realized this is my purpose. But if you're not trying, if you're not experimenting, you're not going to get the real clarity that you want, right? So don't be afraid to try, because the action is going to bring the clarity anyway. But also get still, like whatever you believe in, take some time to really meditate and dream about, if I had a magic wand, what would I love my life to look like? What am I doing? How am I spending my time? Because no matter what, we have to work in this life. So what is good work to me? What is meaningful work to me? if I had to spend the rest of my life helping people and doing podcasts and interviews, like, hell yeah, like that's a good life. That's a meaningful life to me. Like, how do I want to experience this one life that I have? So getting still, getting honest, getting reflective, dreaming into your future, you know, how do you want your life to go when you're 80 years old on your deathbed and you're looking back? What are you going to be most proud of? You know, what are you going to be so happy that you accomplished or started or created in this world? And that'll give you some insight on where your purpose is, what you truly want to see happen in your life, that kind of stuff.
No, that's understandable. Yeah, I feel like at times a lot of people, because they're like scared of like trying things out and they don't want to necessarily get out of their comfort zone, they don't necessarily have enough samples to understand, oh, like I like this, or maybe I don't like this. And sometimes even understanding that you don't like certain things, that's actually progress, because you recognize, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So be a mad scientist and try different things out, and you'll land, you know, but you got to move your feet. You got to explore a little bit. I didn't get here overnight. I knew I wanted to help people. I just didn't know exactly in what format exactly. You know what I mean? But I think when you set the intention to know and live in your purpose, the way will be shown to you. You know what I mean? It'll be revealed to you as you make progress, as you start to work on yourself, you know.
The path is going to illuminate. The path is going to illuminate as you walk it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like part of the things that I notice a lot of people want to do, especially, is that they want to experience cultures outside of wherever they're living. It can be America, it can be Europe, it can be Asia. They want to expand and kind of, get out of their hometown, right? Because I feel there's so many things to see. Like from my experience, every time I've gone out, I've definitely noticed a lot of new things and interesting things. Not necessarily just like, to go out and take pictures and yell, like I tried this food, but it's just like the way people think, the way they live their life, the way they perceive just a day-to-day life. Like for example, I'll give you like a small example. A couple months ago, I did a road trip from LA to Miami, and that road all the way from the south, like I saw a lot of things. I was like, oh wow, I didn't think people live like this. I didn't think people just see things like this. Like really opened my mind. So what's been your experience with that?
Well, I am a huge traveler. I have been nomadic for the last 9 years on and off. COVID slowed me down a little bit, but other than that, I've been nomadic for a long time. So I really believe in the power of expanding your mind through experiences in different cultures and seeing outside of your playground, like exploring other countries and taking these road trips that make you realize, wow, there's different ways of doing life. There's different philosophies, there's different ways of being and making money and living, that you can opt into. You don't have to do the 9 to 5. You don't have to do what your parents tell you to do. You can create your own path. So when I left on that cruise ship, I really realized that the 9 to 5 wasn't for me. And I love traveling. I love experiencing different cultures. One guy is German, one guy is from China. I love that. I love the being in new places and being around different people. I think it's really healthy to explore this planet so you can see where your mind is limiting you, and you don't know what you don't know, right? I'm currently in Bali, Indonesia. I've been living here for 4 months now, and the different networking opportunities, the different people, the new realizations I'm getting because I'm in a different part of the world. When you travel, you meet yourself, right? So when you go on this road trip, you're unlocking more self-discovery and stuff like that, right? So I'm a big proponent, a big advocate for leaving the nest, traveling, booking the flight, going to explore. Yeah,
that's a wonderful way to put it. Like just explore, leave the nest, because there's so much to be seen. And I feel like a lot of people in America especially, they don't understand what's going on outside of the world. They don't understand the countries that they don't even know exist, how people live and think like that. Because me coming from a Middle Eastern background, I was born in Iran. My ethnicity is Armenian. So there's like so many different ways of life I've seen, so many different cultures. I've lived in Europe. I've lived in America. So it's like I see all aspects, from a first world country to like a third world country. There's so much difference, so much variety with opportunities, so much lack or so much abundance of opportunities in your life. So as you said, if you live the nest, you're going to be able to see all of those.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it just grows you so much faster. You just grow up so much faster when you just explore the world and see how what countries bring out different aspects of you. I'm sure in Europe you're a different version of you than you are maybe in LA. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Different, I think, based on the locations you live, you kind of
Mm-hmm.
adapt over time. You kind of, well, not necessarily to fit in, but
Mm-hmm.
basically you pick up new things that's gonna elevate your character in this video game. And
Mm-hmm.
why not travel? Just get to know.
Elevate. I love that. Elevate the character in the video game.
Yeah,
Absolutely. This is just an assimilation. We're all just, I love that. So true.
yeah,
So true. We didn't even get into the metaphysics part, but that's another,
yeah.
another
What's
combo.
your perspective on the metaphysical aspect of reality creation?
You got an hour? You got another hour? um, yeah, basically, I really believe that there are no others. Like, there really is just you, and everything is responding to you. And your reality is going to warp itself based on how you feel and think about yourself. So I could, one girl can date one guy and get a different guy because of how she sees herself, and another girl dates another guy and gets, it's just a reflection. Life is just a mirror. We're just walking through our subconscious mind. You know what I mean? So I really
100%.
believe that there's no one to change but self. If you're into Neville Goddard, there's no one to change. There's no point in trying to change other people. Change who you are, and the world will reflect that. And that's, how I really feel about everything. Money, even metaphysics, like everything. Business, especially with my business. For me, it was like, when I started my business, I was like, oh, I'm this like newbie coach. Like, I'm this like, now I'm like, no, I'm the boss. I'm the leader. I'm the person to pay. And everything is conforming to that energy that I'm holding. Like, I'm the one to pay. I'm the best option. I'm the best mindset coach. And that identity, that self-concept that I'm holding is warping my reality. I knew I need to work with you. You know what I mean? Like, clients are selling themselves on my coaching,
Yeah,
because of how I'm vibrating now. What I'm emitting is creating my reality. So metaphysically, it's like, they're not even real. They're just responding to me. I'm creating them to conform,
yeah,
so it's really magical. I love this kind of conversations as well. Yeah. What
yeah.
do you believe?
Well, I'm kind of on the same page. I remember even Pete was saying that there's nothing outside of you, and everything you
Mm-hmm.
need is already within you. So I don't know if you're familiar
Absolutely.
with the book The Kabbalion.
Yep. 100%. Yep.
That really changed a lot of the things that I was
Yeah.
thinking, and really got into the fundamentals of how everything works. And
Mm-hmm.
even like, I'm not a religious person, but when I read The Kabbalion, it really,
Mm-hmm.
when I was reading religious texts, it really allowed me to see it in a different way, in a metaphysical way, that I was like, oh, now it kind of makes sense. It, like,
Yeah.
everything clicks now,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think in the Kabbalion, the first principle is everything is mental, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Everything is mental. So yeah, just confirming it's all coming from here anyway. Like I tell my clients, don't set goals, set identity, set the mental first, and the goal will take care of itself.
Yeah, that's what I was basically saying to my fitness clients when I was doing it, because I feel like a lot of people are trying to force habits. They're like, oh, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna start eating clean. I'm gonna start eating this. I'm gonna do this many workouts. And sure,
Mm-hmm.
they maybe do it for like a week or two, or I don't know, maybe a month, but they always fall off. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the truth is that, like, if you don't fix your self-image, if you don't fix your
Mm-hmm.
identity, you're gonna struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why people are struggling. Like there, and I have so much compassion for people. I have so much, like, when you learn this stuff, it's like they can't, it's not their fault. This is how they've been programmed, right? Like they can't operate differently because they haven't started to see themselves differently yet. But that's the magic of being a human being and a spiritual being. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone. You can change yourself however you want, but it first starts in the mental and the self-image part, and declaring, this is who I am now. This is how I want my reality to go. And we are the God of our reality. So the more that you can get your God power and declare, right? Because when God said, let there be light, was he like, let there be light? Wait, no. Let me go ask my cousin Frank about that. No, he said, let there be light. He declared it,
Yeah.
right? So it's the same kind of God power that we have to declare. I'm a millionaire. I'm successful. I'm this. Declare it. That's the first step of my dream method. And people aren't declaring what they want because they're afraid. They're stuck in their frame, in this limited view, right? And it's not their fault, but it's their responsibility to transform and transcend.
That's true. Like facts. That's facts for sure. Just to leave the viewers with one like actionable step, that just say if they're really struggling to, make that change that they need to make right now in their life, what's going to
Mm.
be your advice to them?
Realize that there is nothing wrong with you. You are a diamond, but you have some mud on your diamond right now. You are perfect, whole, and complete. You have to release any of the blocks and limiting beliefs and narratives that is telling you otherwise. You're not broken. You're so powerful. Know who you are, learn about who you are. Go within. The power is within. There's no action. It's really about looking inwards and saying, declaring something new for yourself. Dream bigger, decide bigger, choose bigger. You know what I mean? I really want people to step into their God power. You know what I'm saying? Like, declare it, go for it, dare, stop playing small. You're not a mouse, you're God.
100%. I love that. I love that. That's like the perfect way to wrap things up. I really appreciate you for coming on and sharing your lessons, your experiences. I personally learned a lot, and I'm sure the viewers are going to take a lot of value and information from this. So I appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone here. And yes, this has been amazing. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with me as well. And keep doing what you're doing. It's beautiful. I'm rooting for you as well.
Thank you so much.